Justin again established his mount. He's mounted on me. And I'm taking shots, and somehow I can't get through. I can't bump him off. He's an experienced grappler, and everything I do, either he counters or either he's right there on top of me, is one step behind. Okay, as an Agana practitioner, I tell my students to carry a weapon, to always be able to equalize yourself. Okay, if he's a much better grappler than you, and now he's on top of you, his position and his skills makes him better than you. You're going to have to need something to equalize. Right now, as I shield myself, I can deploy my knife. As I deploy my knife, I just equalized everything. In other words, right now, this knife can start working as a defensive. Now, it is important, move for a second, Justin, that when you carry a knife, and I will cover this in the knife fighting tape, that the deployment of your weapon is always available, okay? When you carry a folder, your folder should be carried in a low pocket. Don't carry in the jeans like this and the knife ends up here, because if somebody mounts you, his leg will be on top of the knife and you don't have a deployment. So there's a reason why when you carry a knife, it should be down here or maybe in the pocket here, but it should never be in the little. A lot of people like buy a folder and it's comfortable here. Wow, I feel good. Nobody can see it. It's not annoying me, right? Problem with that is if somebody mounts you, you'll never be able to deploy it. So I always tell my students to have the knife in the low pocket, not in the high pocket. So as I'm here, and Justin is mounted, he starts to go to work, and I just can't. I feel, okay, and you have to listen to yourself when you fight. I feel that I'm about to take a shot. It's gonna be too much for me to handle, and I'm gonna black out. There's people in law enforcement say, you max out or you black out. Blacking out is not an option, because when you black out, you wake up at the secondary location, and God knows what they're gonna do to you, and you can use your imagination. I'm not going to get into it. I do not have the option to black out. When I black out, I give my life to the opponent. I'm not going to do that. So if I feel that this is just way too much for me to handle, time to go ahead and deploy that weapon. Now, as soon as I'm here, I can start stabbing him. Now, it's important to remind you, when you stab, do not stick your knife in him. If you stick your knife all the way in him, it's going to be very hard for you to pull it out. Now, is he going to die? Yes, he's going to die. But when I stick the knife here, maybe he deploys a weapon now, and now I'm stuck here, and now he's got a weapon. Every time you stab, it's going to be a poke. So you create a hole, and blood is going to start pissing, and it's going to hurt him, versus just sticking in there, and then you can't take it out, okay? So I can start stabbing, or I can fillet. Fillet, I can fillet anything I want. I can come here and start filleting here. I can come here and fillet here. I can fillet his leg. I can fillet his back. I can fillet anything I want, okay? In other words, the fillet, as soon as you start filleting somebody here, trust me, the last thing he's going to think is about punching me here. The last thing he's going to think is about transition to another transition so I can put him in a beautiful triangle choke. You start filleting, game is over. So again, you can use the deployment of the knife or of your weapon as a defense as well, to equalize the odds, because if he's on top of you and he's much better than you and he's got the dominant position, you might take one shot that's too much for you to handle, and blacking out in combat is not an option. There's only two places in combat: first place or victim. Don't be the victim. On the other token, now I'm going to reverse the scenario. In other words, I'm mounted him, and I'm starting to go to work, and Justin deploys the weapon. In other words, all of a sudden, there is a knife into the play. The knife, you're going to have to neutralize it right away. Now, when you're on the ground, I do not want you to seize with both hands. If I go to seize him with both hands and he bridges, I'm going to lose the position. And if I lose the position, basically, he takes over the engagement. Here, I'm going to have to fish with one hand. Now, as soon as I got one hand, I'm going to want to use the ground as my ally. In other words, I'm going to smack that hand right on the concrete. Again, smack it right on the concrete. It's important here that you don't grab with your thumb. If you grab with your thumb, what's going to connect on the ground is your thumb, and that's going to short-circuit you. You plug it, so when I smack it, it's going to get the back of his hand versus your thumb, and grinding it into the asphalt. I want to do at least 1 or 2. Now, some people right now will just simply drop the knife. Drop the knife, you retrieve it, and you use it to your advantage. If you did not drop the knife, you're going to have to neutralize right away that he cannot switch hand with the blade. In other words, that he doesn't take the knife and cut you across the throat. Okay? If you neutralize the hand here and he cannot use it, he's going to want to switch hand. That will be done by short-circuiting him as soon as the hand connected here. 1, 2, short-circuit here. I want him to think, ouch, ouch. I don't want him to think, oh, no big deal, I'm going to the other side with the hand. So I'm here, 1, 2, and right away short-circuit him. Right away short-circuit him. And from here, I'm going to enter here. Now, that brings us to the concept of overlapping. Same thing happens on the ground. A lot of people get into the ground and say, oh, now we're grappling. Now we're doing ground fighting. And they're going too much into, I need to go into submission or grappling. Submission and grappling has great values. However, you need to continue short-circuit him as an Agana practitioner, and that will be done with inflicting damage. The perfect example here will be 1, 2. Instead of me simply position my elbow here, I'm going to whack him one more time. Whack him here and put my elbow here. Now, when I put my elbow here, what I'm basically doing is I'm making sure that he cannot bite me. If I go to work here and he turns and takes a chunk out of my tricep, it's going to definitely short-circuit me. So I'm going to put it right here, try to bite Justin, and he can bite. If he cannot bite, I can go to work. From here, I'm going to switch hand. Again, important you don't grab here. If you grab with your thumb and he starts struggling, he's basically grinding your thumb into the asphalt. No good. I want that whatever is on the ground is his hand, not your hand. On the same concept, I'm going to come in, not touching the ground. I pick it up. I pick it up and create an opening, and then I come in. When I come in, as close as possible to the wrist, right here. And the first thing I'm going to do is tighten it up to his body. Don't start working. Make sure it's going to work to your advantage by having a good position and tightening up. I'm going to tighten up here, and I'm going to rip right here. Okay, now brings us the issue. He's going to tap out. When somebody taps you out in the street, he's giving you a compliment. You're doing a great job. Keep going. In other words, don't stop. Don't go, oh, he tapped out, I'm starting. Okay. And you're in the program, okay, and now he attacks you again. Right now, I'm going to rip that whole hand all the way out. You're just going to rip it out. As I ripped it out, right now I know this whole side is completely neutralized. Only then I can retrieve the knife. Now, as soon as the knife is in my possession, I now have greater my actions into the fight. In other words, I'm going to use this knife. Instead of earlier just pumping myself up and come out, this time I'm going to put one hand here and the knife right here. And as I get up, it's right here. There is no man on earth who's going to try to do anything now because I will slack him out. And right now, you're in complete position to get backside up. Again, I'm here, I'm starting to work. He deploys that knife. 1, 2, no thumb. Elbow, short-circuit him. Elbow, short-circuit him again. Switch over, scoop up. Tight, rake, take the knife. Hand here, and out we go. Anything happens, schlock him out. On the same token, I got to address the issue, what if he deploys a firearm? Again, I mounted Justin, I go to work, all of a sudden, he deploys a gun. And sometimes he might deploy your own gun. It's not always their gun. All right? Right now, I got to deal with the primary danger, which will be the line of fire. If I go to grab his wrist like I did the knife, he can turn it and still shoot me. Therefore, I'm going to have to adjust my technique into grabbing by the trigger guard. Again, you're not going to the barrel. If you go to the barrel and he yanks out, he's going to get out, he's going to cut me the front side, and he still can shoot me. If it's a revolver, it's going to rotate and still shoot me. If it's a compensated weapon, it's going to burn me and I'm going to let go, so no good. In other words, I'm going right under the trigger guard, and I'm shoving it to the ground. Again, shoving it to the ground. From here, same thing as before. Short circuit him, short circuit him. Again, 1, 2. Remember to keep the elbow close to him so he cannot bite you. From here, you're going to raise this up and put your thumb right by the side of the barrel. 1. And from here, 90-degree break his finger. Again, up, thumb, 90-degree break his finger. From here, before you rip it out this way, I want to short circuit him again. 1, out, and the gun comes up. Now, as you pull the gun, you're going to need to rack that gun because most likely it's jammed. In other words, I'm coming right here. Again, this gun is most likely jammed, just like we covered in our handgun disarms tape. Again, I'm right here. I'm going to have to rack it. Do not rack it down here so he can take the gun away from you. Up here, rack the gun. 1. And now this gun is operative. Hand goes on the chest. And you're going to stand up while aiming at him. Make sure your finger is off the trigger. Do not put the finger in the trigger because if you jilt now, you'll shoot. And basically, you did not schedule the shooting. Always finger off the trigger. The criminals will put their finger on the trigger. Professionals put their finger off the trigger. That will be covered in the Israeli combat shooting series. Right now, make sure finger off the trigger. I put my hand on chest, I get up, and I secure the scene right here. Again, is here. I went to work, deployed that gun. 1, short circuit, up we go. Rack it, out we go. Rack the gun, up we go, and secure the scene into safety.